Jeremy McGrath is going through his at-the-gate routine. His mechanic, Randy Lawrence, just off to the right there, is there to assist him. Let's review the Honda starting lineup sheet. Two-time winners, McGrath and Vuillemin, right next to each other at the gate. Ricky Carmichael got the third pick of the gate positions.
Well, McGrath just went out and just set this blazing pace, went right into the lead from a horrible start, made a huge statement, and all of a sudden, I figured that was pretty much it, and all of a sudden Carmichael closed the gap, so that was a statement as well. He's letting Jeremy know, hey, however fast he's going to go tonight, I can match that. Let's see if he can do it for 20 full laps.
As the field, there's 934, David Vuillemin, right next to Jeremy McGrath. Starting to rev things up. Number 21 is Sebastian Tortelli. McGrath, a 2-point lead on Vuillemin in the points. LaRocco, 8 points back. Wyndham and Carmichael also in the top 5. Rocking back and forth. The board is up. The 30-second board is up. We're set now for round number 5 of EA Sports Supercross from the Houston Astrodome.
See, most of the good riders, Jeremy, Vuillemin, the two hot shots, all the hot properties are lined up pretty close to the inside.
A massive chase. And it's Jeremy McGrath getting the whole shot with Ricky Carmichael in second. Ward in third. And Greg Albertine on Team Suzuki. Number 7 just got in front of Ward for third. So the Yahoo Sports whole shot award goes to Jeremy McGrath. That's his first whole shot of the year.
Well, he just took command, and that first corner was right back on the power. He looked like a dirt tracker going through there. Watch again. It doesn't look like he has the whole shot right at first, but he just gets that power. He actually bumps Sellers. Watch him right here. He lays it into the corner. Back on the power right there. Carmichael hung right with him.
Back to the live action. You see Jeremy already starting to pull away from Ricky Carmichael. He started with a 1.1 second lead, and now he's got it almost up to 2. Carmichael's got Greg Albertine behind him and Larry Ward, and they're separating themselves from David Vuillemin.
Well, Vuillemin has proved he can come from behind. He gets better as the race wears on, but I don't think this track plays into that kind of favor as what he was able to do in Phoenix as well. He's not going to tear up as much, and what Vuillemin was really able to do well was pick different lines once the track deteriorated. Here it's going to hold up pretty good. Everyone's going to run basically the same pace throughout the race.
There's Ward, number 10, riding with Payne, and Vuillemin right behind him. Vuillemin got a 6th place start in the last race.
He was behind Greg Albertine for seemed like over half the race. Once he got around, he was able to close the gap pretty fast. That's going to happen again if he plans on catching Jeremy.
Vuillemin. Boy, hits that rut perfect.
You have to. It's inches out here. 1 inch to the right, 1 inch to the left. You don't hit the line you want. Messes up your timing all the way down the straightaway. These guys have to be precise to go this fast.
Winner of the shortened FIM Supercross Series. He just continues to ride well.
You can see McGrath going the other way in that shot. Vuillemin coming into the corner. Jeremy knows where he sits. I think Carmichael is going as fast as he absolutely can, and he is not able to stay with McGrath.
McGrath has got a 6.6 second lead on Vuillemin. Vuillemin in 5th. There's Jeremy. Bound and determined coming into this Astrodome to recapture the Supercross momentum that he had after the first 2 rounds at Anaheim.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to speak very publicly about he really should have won San Diego. Had he not had some front brake troubles, he really feels like if he'd have known about Vuillemin, he could have won last week. That put a lot of pressure on him to come out here and win this time. I don't know if he did that on purpose or what, but he is definitely living up to it.
Ricky Carmichael trying to hold on to his best finish, which would be second.
He's picking up where he left off in the heat race, 54-second lap time.
Something tells me that Jeremy McGrath is not going to settle into a pace here tonight.
He'll never do that again, unless he's got a 20-second lead, and I just don't think in the field that's assembled this year for this 2000 series, he's ever going to have that luxury. Carmichael is actually hanging right there. You see him coming into the corner. He hasn't lost much time. This will give Ricky a big boost of confidence, and he's been training extra hard, knowing that he came into Anaheim thinking he was pretty close to being in the right kind of shape. It was a big wake-up call, dropping all the way to 8th, and he's been working really hard with O'Mara ever since. It's showing right now. Larry Ward is trying to move up for 3rd place against Greg Albertine. And I got to hand it to Ward. He started the season with a sore back. He crashed in San Diego and cracked a rib and hurt his arm. And here he is battling just 2 weeks later. Well, all he's got to do is move around Greg, and he's on the podium right behind his teammates, put a couple Kawasaki's up there to get a little momentum over in that camp. Larry's beaten Albertine before. Just got to try to remember those times, go after him, and he better hurry because Vuillemin's coming, starting to close that gap a little bit. Endurance might be a factor with Ward. I'll tell you what, Art, it's a factor with everybody. It's a matter of how smooth you ride. You know, you look at Kevin Windham. He's talking about how he's in great shape. He's able to put in like laps at intensity at the Honda track, 25 lap mains. But in a race, it's different. Greg Albertine has been putting in lap after lap at Stefan Roncada's track. He's been training very hard lately. Nerves. Well, that's what happened to Tim Ferry last week. He pulled out to a big lead. We saw that freight train battle of all the best riders in the world chasing him and closing the gap a little bit. He got nervous. His arms got tight. He couldn't ride his best. He dropped pretty far back in the field. Larry Ward trying to make a move in the whoops. Larry's so good in the whoops, using his height advantage. It looks to me like he's perhaps a little bit faster than Albie right now in some spots. And if he can get around, he'd be able to pull away. Albie's still riding a fine race. Ward hasn't been on the podium yet this year. Bar to bar we go. Albertine and Ward. Ward gets the inside block pass. That's just close. You know, Albie had to ride through there and just thread that needle, try not to hit any of those tough blocks, or Larry. Our leader, Jeremy McGrath, look at this flawless style. Cuts the berm perfect. Goes through the whoops like they're not even there. It's McGrath, Carmichael, and Ward are top 3 with Vuillemin in 5th. We'll be back in a moment. EA Sports Supercross continues from Houston, Texas. Jeremy McGrath leads, and he's pulling away Carmichael. RC's looking good in 2nd, but the battle is for 3rd with number 10, Larry Ward, riding with a broken rib, trying to hold off his former teammate here, Greg Albertine, number 7. And we see Vuillemin also trying to make a move on Albie. Here's Vuillemin to the inside. Vuillemin makes the pass. Can he make it stick? Yes, he does. So Vuillemin moves up another notch to 4th place. The Cobra, as he's known in France, has put together a great comeback already this season. That was last week, surprising McGrath, but I don't think he's going to surprise Jeremy this week. He's got his sights on 2 Kawasaki's now. You can see in that shot, just at the end of the whoop section, Carmichael going through the corner. So Vuillemin in some sections on the racetrack has him in sight. He doesn't have to look at the pit board to know where he is. That always gives you a little extra inspiration, knowing you can gauge from lap to lap, see if you're gaining or not. One thing is a fact, though, he's not going to surprise Jeremy McGrath one way or another here tonight. But he's only 2 points behind. Check out the pass once again. Well, he just comes around the inside right there, takes away the line of Greg Albertine, cuts right in front of him to make sure he can't come back on him. Greg's still riding a fine race. As a matter of fact, the way he started out the season, he looked a little shaky. His timing didn't look very good. He's made a nice rebound, getting good starts. He's starting to run up front with these guys. As soon as he does that, gets comfortable, he'll be able to stay there a lot longer. Vuillemin now chasing down Larry Ward for a podium spot. Vuillemin right now in a
save as many points as you can situation. He trails Jeremy McGrath by more than 12 seconds.
Well, after watching what happened in the past couple of races with Vuillemin, fitness is not an issue. It is a little bit of an issue with Ward, with the injuries he's had. And we've seen Carmichael fade a little bit in the last 6 or 7 laps. So it's not out of the question that Vuillemin could still end up in second place in this race, but he's going to have to ride awesome to catch Carmichael if he can get around Larry Ward.
Tries the inside, shows the wheel, look out! Can't quite get Larry Ward on that one. The seasoned veteran who's had 3 decades of 250 racing, Larry Ward, is not letting Vuillemin by easily.
You can see Vuillemin as being very patient. This kid is so smart. It takes so much intelligence to be able to win a Supercross. It's not just speed. You got to be smart. Right there, he had a couple of chances to get in there, bump Larry, but I don't think he had enough of an edge on him to really make it stick. Both of them could have lost more time, or one of them could have gone down.
A battle for third. Larry Ward not only wanting to save that podium spot, but he's looking at his best finish ever in Houston.
Look at the Cobra, they call him. Vuillemin just cutting every corner a little bit tighter. Watch this.
Vuillemin moves into third place.
Larry knew he was coming there, but the problem is down that straightaway, it's so hard to get through there and jump all those obstacles. I don't think Larry was comfortable to move over to the left side of the straightaway and try something new midway into the main event.
Larry's had his problems this year, starting second in the opener and drifting back to ninth in other similar situations.
A little bit better timing, jumps all the way up over that extra jump into the corner. He just shaves off about 10 feet of racetrack. And he didn't have to go fast to do it, just a better line. Now the question is, can he catch Carmichael, Art?
That's a big question with 9 laps remaining.
That's a lap longer than a heat race. So much can happen in one of those. It's very possible.
He's about 7 seconds in back of it. Boy, would that be a ride. Let's check it out. Stay focused. Chad Watts telling Ricky Carmichael.
He put that 56-second lap time up there to try to keep him focused on something other than who's back there. Just race yourself, race the track. The problem with that 56-second lap time is it's a second slower than Jeremy and a second slower than Vuillemin.
With McGrath now dominating and Ricky Carmichael number 4 in second. Let's go down to Davey.
Well, David Bailey's exactly right. David Vuillemin is the odd man out right now, the guy moving up, and Carmichael knows he's there because the lap before his mechanic Chad Watts put out Vuillemin coming.
Well, that'll make you nervous. He's got a pretty good lead, but remember McGrath had about this same lead halfway into the main event last week and still wasn't enough. And we're talking about Jeremy McGrath. Look at that. Doesn't even have to put his feet down. Just incredible balance. You can watch his body, just tell exactly what he means to do.
A reminder right now with this excitement underway, if you can't make it to the Supercross races, check in with PaceSupercross.com. They get the live webcast underway every race, and you, the fans, can call in after the race with questions. In fact, when I was on that show a couple of weeks ago, Ezra Lusk, who was in Georgia, called in to say, hey, I enjoyed the webcast.
Everyone's listening in.
Our leader, Jeremy McGrath. What a job he's done. He came back just like he said.
He's been struggling on the start this year, too. He started out pretty good in Anaheim, but then it kind of went south from there. San Diego was terrible. Last week wasn't much better. He knew what he needed to do. The start is the main thing, and Jeremy, at times, I've talked to Skip Norfolk in the past, his mechanic while he was at Honda, and Jeremy will set his bike up for the start sometimes. Even if it means he loses a little bit out there on the racetrack, if the percentages are in the start, that's where he'll set the suspension up so he gets off the line with the maximum amount of traction and no wheelers.
McGrath has won 4 races here in Houston prior. If he wins this one, he would tie Bob Hanna and Mark Barnett as the winningest rider in this great traditional venue called the Astrodome. They've had an event every year here since 1974. 35 races, including several doubleheaders. And Jeremy McGrath has not had the benefit of a doubleheader win here in the Astrodome. Bob Hanna did. So did Mark Barnett.
Well, I followed Hanna to one of those. I got second. I'll tell you what, at that time in my career, I was just stoked to be in second behind him. And I think right now, Carmichael, in one sense, would really like to be able to beat this guy, but staying as close to him for as long as he has in this race is a step better than last week. So he's got to be pretty happy.
Carmichael looking for a second-place finish. That would be his best of the season. We'll be right back, and the checkers should wave in just a few minutes. Welcome back as Toyota Trucks presents EA Sports Supercross from Houston. Jeremy McGrath, #1, is on his way to winning his 3rd race of the season, his 63rd career victory. He's on course to become the all-time winningest Yamaha rider. He's already the winningest Honda rider, of course. But should he win this race right here, it would be his 18th win on a Yamaha. Bob Hanna is the current Yamaha leader, career leader, with 20 Supercross victories. Now, this continues to be Yamaha's greatest start on a season as well. Jeremy getting around Heath Voss, the privateer. RC is looking pretty good in second place, picking up the pace.
Yeah, Carmichael did pick up a second that time. You'll see him just enter that picture in the green going by. Jeremy is starting to put it into the cruise mode, which, with the lead that he has, should be enough. Carmichael did pick it up a second that lap, gain on Jeremy, but not close enough to really bother him. He did pull away from Vuillemin, and that's really starting to impress me. Carmichael has worked hard on his fitness, and I talked about it showing now about 5 laps ago. No, now it's really starting to show. This is where you start to get tired.
Hey, talking about Ricky Carmichael, David, I have a question for you. He looks so much more mature and patient this week than he has in the past. What does that mean to a rider when he gets on the podium for the first time like Ricky did last week?
Oh, you just have that clear picture of, I know what it takes now. And anytime you visualize, which a lot of these guys do, the race beforehand, you've got a clear picture of what it takes. You know that your training is working, that you're on the right track. You just keep doing the same thing, but you have a little bit more confidence.
Well, Carmichael's riding with a lot of confidence right now, that's for sure. He's in second place, looking for his best finish of the year. And here in third place, 934, David Vuillemin. Vuillemin is looking for his 4th podium of the year.
Well, this will be a fine ride, but it's 17 seconds or so behind, or like 13 seconds right there behind Jeremy. 17 back to Albertine. I think at this point, these guys are pretty tired. Things are pretty separated. He's just going to have to take this and try to get a better start next time. As fast as everyone is now in the top 4 or 5 spots each week, you just can't afford to get off the line 7th or 8th and just work your way up.
Boy, look at the style of Vuillemin.
You see him looking over there on the triple. Well, I'm not gaining, so maybe I'm just going to have to settle for this 3rd. Still jumps that triple. Cuts the corner a little bit tighter. I really like that about this guy. He gets into corners and he doesn't waste any time getting out in that powder and the bumps. He cuts it early. It's right back out on the power.
Riders on Yamahas have never won 4 races in a row to start the season before. But now they're on the verge of winning their 5th as we check out the battle for 5th place. Larry Ward and Mike LaRocco. Ward has ridden very tough. Here's Jeremy McGrath. Last lap for Jeremy.
These fans are looking for that patented knack-knack, and they may get one here coming up. Here comes the triple.
The winningest rider in history. The defending and 6-time Supercross champion. You might surprise him once, but you're not going to surprise him a second time.
Well, if things can stay the way they are, Jeremy will have done exactly what he said. He will prove that he is the best, the fastest, and he'll extend that point lead 5 more points on Vuillemin.
He will add to his points lead, obviously. And the checkers are out. And the checkers are starting to wave for Jeremy McGrath. His 3rd victory of the season. His 63rd career Supercross victory. And David, it's looking like Sherman's march through the Supercross season for Yamaha.
So LaRocco did get around Larry Ward that final lap. LaRocco just came out of nowhere. You see Carmichael tell Larry Ward there, hey, good job, teammate. But as soon as Carmichael went across the finish line, and he looked as though he'd won the race. He was happy that he stayed up there that long. He knows that what he's doing is paying off. Not quite as good as McGrath, but he's happy.
And the two shake hands. Great sportsmanship between those two riders. Ricky Carmichael's got to be very proud of his best Supercross finish on a 250. Checking out the Honda results page, McGrath, Carmichael, Vuillemin, Albertine's best finish of the year, and Mike LaRocco rounding out the top 5. Larry Ward holding nicely in 6th after LaRocco got by him, and Kevin Windham ending up in 7th with Huffman, Tortelli, and Ferry rounding out the top 10. Well, it's interesting anytime when someone predicts what they're going to do and goes out and does it. It almost sounds like a Bob Hanna scenario. We'll be right back to the Astrodome to hear from our great winner and the runner-up in a moment.
All right, Jeremy, way to get back out there and reestablish yourself as the man to beat. What a great 20 laps.
Yeah, Davey, this week, you know, after last week's race, I was kind of thinking about it a little bit on early in the week, and I trained really hard this week. Talked to Gary Simmons, we went over a few things, and just kept my head down, kept focused, and you know, it's been a long week, but now that makes it a little better.
Well, I tell you what, that was one of the best starts we've seen you get in a long, long time. You just hit the ground running.
Yeah, well, Bridgestone tires are working excellent out there. You know, we went with a little bit less knob this week because my bike was getting a little traction, and you know, I got to thank the guys at Yamaha. We did a lot of work this week on the bike, and of course, Chaparral, Mazda, Yamaha, Cornwell Tools, 800 Collects, No Fear, Bell Helmets, Alpine Star, CTI Brace. You know, everyone's been there. Revenge, my mechanic Randy, Dave, Larry, everyone on the team.
What an excellent performance here in the Astrodome.
Thanks a lot. That one I'll dedicate to Jimmy Button.
Oh, that was terrific. Jimmy Button on the mend after a tragic accident just 2 weeks ago. There's Ann McGrath, his mother, his entire family, such great supporters of Jeremy McGrath throughout his career.
Thanks, man. My bike was good. Really good.
The crew from Yamaha. Yamaha now has won 5 in a row to start the season. Our Honda top 10 results: Jeremy McGrath, Ricky Carmichael, his best finish. David Vuillemin also on the podium again. Greg Albertine, Mike LaRocco in 5th. Larry Ward riding with pain. Kevin Windham, Damon Huffman, Sebastian Tortelli, and in Jeremy's teammate Tim Ferry in 10th. Let's go back to Davey.
Well, Ricky, 2 weeks in a row. You showed last week in Phoenix that first podium wasn't a fluke. In fact, you improved on it here in the Astrodome.
I did. I tell you what, Davey, I've been working my butt off, and Team Chevy Trucks, Kawasaki, I tell you, we're getting it together, and need to be up there every weekend like that. I've been working my butt off, and arms got a little tight out there, but hey, that's part of it. That's racing, and I felt good. I seen David was behind me closing up a little bit, and I just tried to stay a steady pace, and that's it, and here I am.
And right here is David Vuillemin. And David, once again, you're on the podium. Not quite as good as you did the last 2 weeks, but you came from behind. You rode well.
Yeah, I did not get a good start. You know, Jeremy was on my left side, and he put a great hot shot. And I was in the back, and I could not pass Albi and Larry Ward fast enough. Maybe take me 5 laps. And so Ricky and Jeremy was gone, and so I just ride my own race just to stay in 3rd place. And I was catching a little bit Ricky, but he was a little bit too far because it was almost finished.
Another good job, David.
Thanks a lot.
Taking a look now at some of the other finishers on the Honda final results page. John Dowd in 11th place. Brock Sellart's doing a nice job of the 250s before his first race in the 125 East next week. Let's take a look now at the point situation of the 250, sponsored by Suzuki. The story coming into the Astrodome was Vuillemin and McGrath. And McGrath leaves David Bailey with a 7-point advantage now.
Well, the whole story arc coming in here was McGrath versus Vuillemin. They each had 2 wins, and I really believe that whoever left here with the upper hand and the advantage was going to have the advantage throughout the rest of the season. Vuillemin was just realistic. He realized that it's going to take a better start than that to get up there and challenge McGrath.
Davey Coombs, your final thoughts?
Art and David, I'm pleasantly surprised at the way Ricky Carmichael's kind of joined the storyline. You know, Ricky took a lot of grief last year with all those crashes as a 250 rookie, but hey, you don't win 125 nationals to go undefeated in a 125 Supercross season unless you got some skills.
Ricky Carmichael getting good starts and is certainly holding his position better on the track nowadays with his finest finish in second. This week's U.S. Army Teamwork Award goes to Jeremy McGrath and the entire Mazda Chaparral Yamaha crew. Jeremy came back with a vengeance, saying enough is enough, and he stopped that 2-race win streak of David Vuillemin. Jeremy McGrath and his entire team, this week's U.S. Army Teamwork Award winner.